I didn't do anything, okay? I was a part of doing this. It's very important, very important. I don't need ego trips, and I just really, if it comes out as then we miss the whole boat, right, for me.
Ken and I first met in college, and he was a year ahead of me, and so he was my senior classman, so to speak, I looked up to as we went through. And then we ended up working together as part-time student workers for a professor. Two of our professors had a small firm that ultimately I ended up joining. We kind of lost touch with each other for 2 or 3 years, and suddenly he called me one night. He was on a recruiting trip back to Western Carolina. Just kind of started talking again, and somehow or another got to the subject of, well, maybe you should come and join us. We're trying to get an office started in Asheville, and you would be a perfect kind of person to do that.
When we started the firm, and I left the national firm, moved to Asheville, bought a nice expensive desk that I still have today, and sat down, and all of a sudden the light bulb went off. There's something wrong with this picture. And what was, I didn't have any clients. So that's how I learned to do practice development. Is I decided I better get out and beat the streets and figure out who's going to hire me to serve them. And that's how I learned to be aggressive at building and growing and getting new clients and providing services. I had no choice.
Back in the Chris Hughes days when we were building the firm, reinvesting, and Ken really had the reputation of never giving us any money. My final year-end distribution one year was $27.83. I'm not leaving off hundreds or thousands, $27.83. And I'm like, Ken, I can either go to dinner or I can have a drink, but I can't do both.
We didn't have a lot of resources personally. None of us came from wealthy backgrounds, and so we just had to earn our way out of it. And it's probably one of the things that makes the firm so strong today financially is we went through that and just we're disciplined about building up partner capital to finance the operations of the firm.
I remember exactly how we met. We have a mutual friend that invited both of us to come over and play golf one afternoon. And it's kind of ironic. Ken and I were walking down the fairway, just talking. He knew what I did, and I knew what he did. And so we started talking about stocks, and what ended up happening is Ken became a client. And sometimes you never know how things work out for you in life. And that one conversation ended up turning into almost $2 billion under management for Dixon Hughes. So you never know.
Some of the early partner retreats always had some kind of humor to go along with them. There was some story came out of probably each of them. Some of those were pretty stressful retreats because typically we were dealing with some kind of problem or issue, or we were trying to solve something. And so it was pretty frequent that we had some kind of diversion to kind of lighten things up.
One time we were at a partner retreat when we were real small, and where we could all sit around in a room, 5 or 6 of us, and I had to go out for something, and so a couple of the partners went and got a pumpkin and put it in my chair and took pictures of it and things like that. And so we always liked to do a lot of practical jokes if we could on someone, so they decided a pumpkin was a whole lot more inspirational than I was that day.
And then Ken, knowing him, he was also always so looking for ways to increase productivity and get more out of a day than you could possibly hope to ever get. So one year we had the bright idea of renting a motorhome. There were only about 6 or 8 partners at the time. And we figured we could meet on the way to a retreat location, which was probably the first time we went to a distant location. Needless to say, we never did that again. It was a disaster trying to roll down the highway while one partner drove and the other 6 or 7 of us tried to meet in the back of a noisy motorhome.
I have not driven the motorhome before or since. I was driving when we were going through Atlanta, and we decided to exit, and I take the exit a little too fast, and it sort of goes up on 2 wheels. I didn't have to drive anymore. Worked out great.
I think Ken is his leadership style. He'd be a highly principled leader. It's interesting. He's been able to keep his ego out of the way. Not a lot of people would realize this, but of the top 20 largest firms in the United States, there's only one person left whose name is on the building, and that's Ken Hughes at Dixon Hughes Goodman.
Ken's leadership style is that he is authoritarian. No, excuse me, that's not right. Ken is really very much, or is very much democratic and participative in nature. He does a good job of socializing ideas amongst everyone, so at the end of the day, we get to the right answer.
He's very loyal. He's very trustworthy. He's very driven and wants people to succeed on their own terms. But he'll do everything possible to help make that happen. He's a great friend.
Ken, going back to growing up in Burnsville, surrounded by Hugheses, has always been committed to his family. I think everyone who knows Ken knows of his love and commitment to Lauren. And yes, when I'm talking to him and she texts him, he quits listening to me and takes her call or reads his text. And I'm over it, Ken, but it does speak to how much he cares for his family, loves his family as more than he loves DHG, if that's possible.
He's very practical, he's reasonable, he's very smart, but he doesn't need to prove or tell you how smart he is. So the suggestions that he makes and the way he goes about things, I think, really help us get things done. That's the other thing. He's got a high need to get things done, not just talk about things.
He had 2 slogans, and he stuck to them all these years. One was, get the right people on the bus. Ken was extraordinary in getting the right people, but then letting those people kind of drive their own bus. Okay, he was always there for them. It's what happened to me. He was always there for me, but he got out of my way and let me drive the bus, okay? And he's done that throughout the firm. The other thing that maybe was more important is saying there's no right way to do the wrong thing. And I have never forgotten that. It's simple, it's kind of enough said, okay? But those 2 characteristics, I think, have helped this firm grow from where it started to where it is now.
I'd summarize Ken's leadership style in 2 or 3 words: commitment, passion. Probably passion is the key word that describes Ken. It's part of what's taken him from Burnsville, North Carolina to the height of our profession, and through his leadership and others helped build the firm that we are today. And also consistent. And Ken, you always know what you're going to get. You always know you can rely on him. In all these many years, I don't know that he has ever let me down. That goes back to 1978.
You know, if I could go back and look at where the firm is today and I were young looking out, I would say, wow, I cannot believe that from a lot of humble beginnings, from a lot of our family tree of firms, that suddenly we're today on a national stage, one of the top 20 firms in the nation. So I think it's exceeded my wildest expectations, and I would think, wow, we've certainly been blessed with a lot of great people along the way, a lot of great clients, and all of that's worked together to be where we are today.
The most important thing Ken is leaving with the firm is the way that he has transferred his values to the future leaders and the people he has surrounded himself with. They have become aligned with his way of looking at, thinking, decision-making, and planning. And so I think that says a great deal not only for his leadership abilities, but for the prospects of the firm to perpetuate itself going forward.
It's been a fun ride. We've worked hard, we've played hard, we've done some crazy things along the way, taken some risks that in hindsight maybe prudent people wouldn't have done, but we've been, Ken's been our leading entrepreneur and always willing to try new and different things, and I think that's part of why we are who we are. We're who we are because Ken's who he is, and that's a tremendous legacy for that people will remember here for years and years and years and years.
I know that from the firm's perspective, you have enjoyed tremendous success because of Ken. And I think that it's important on a time like this, on a retirement, to be thankful and reflective of that. And I know, Matt, with your leadership going forward, the firm will be tremendous, in facing the new challenges of the day. But when the history books of the profession are written, when we look at the significant eras of now a profession that's more than 125 years old, the era that we are in will be about the building of a significant, competent-based, quality-committed set of firms below the four largest firms, and those meeting marketplace needs in the public interest. And Dixon Hughes Goodman and Ken Hughes have been on the forefront of that. And I think you should all be proud of that, and we should all be thankful for Ken's leadership in that process.
Ken, it's been my pleasure to work with you, to know you for all these years, to be able to travel with you, to learn from you. I'm a better person, I think, and a better managing partner as a result of the time that I've been privileged enough to spend with you. And I hope that in the future we'll get more time together. But my wife Mary and I would like to wish you and Jane all the health, happiness, and fulfillment in retirement that you so richly deserve.
So Ken, it's hard to believe we're both here at our retirement. I can't believe when we started 30 plus years ago, or 40, or ever how long it was now, that we would persevere and be here at this stage together. I hope you enjoy it as much as I am, and I wish you all the best in the world, and can't wait to see how you handle retirement in a couple of years when we have a chance to catch back up and talk again. Good luck. Godspeed.
Ken, I am really very proud of everything you've done here at DHG and in other walks of your life. And I hope that you have many, many more years of success, and I hope we have the opportunity to have some fun together.
I owe you more than I could ever repay you. You changed my life and you changed my family's life, and I'll be forever grateful for what you did for me and my family. And I wouldn't change a thing over all these 30 years from a business standpoint. And I thank you, as well as Kent and also Mike Crawford, for giving me an opportunity that most people never get. So for that, I'm very grateful.
So as we close, Ken, as your partner, as your friend, and speaking for all of the people of Dixon Hughes Goodman, our partners, our retired partners, others, we thank you, we wish you well. Your next phase will be as amazing as this phase has been. We'll enjoy watching to see what all you do in your next phase. Thank you.